everyone, and welcome back to Lanzarote, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to have a look at long-term residency in Spain, what it means, the advantages of it, and how to go about getting it. Now, if like us you arrived in Spain with a non-lucrative visa, you'll know that you've got temporary residency for the first 12 months. And under the current law, you have to renew that temporary residency after the first year and then again after the third year. So that's years 2 and 3 and years 4 and 5. But probably the ultimate goal for most of us in that situation is to get long-term residency in Spain. Now, there are lots of benefits in obtaining long-term residency, not least that you have the right to work. And you also have the right to live indefinitely in Spain under the same conditions as Spanish nationals. Now, obviously, with long-term residency, you don't have to keep renewing it every couple of years, with all that entails with proof of funds, proof of health cover, new marriage certificates, and all the documentation you need. But you do have to renew your residency card every 5 years. Another benefit is if, like us, you live in the Canary Islands or if you live in the Balearic Islands, then you have the right to up to 75% discount on air and sea travel, both inter-island and between the islands and the mainland. Now, those of you who've seen my previous videos on getting the non-lucrative visa, applying for your TIE, doing the renewals of your temporary residency, you'll know that I speak from personal experience of the process, having done it all myself. However, I'm not yet eligible to apply for my long-term residency. That will be my next step, and that will be in early 2026. So what I'm telling you today is based on my research. Now, you'll know I always want to be ahead of the game, so I've been researching what is required, and I found some quite conflicting information. My research has involved reading the Spanish laws, their immigration laws, European directives. I've spoken to our local immigration office for advice, and I've also trolled the internet and Facebook for experiences people have actually had in doing their applications for long-term residency. So whilst as yet I can't offer any advice based on my own personal experience, I can give you the benefit of all my research so far. I've done the research, so you don't have to. Now, from what I've read about people's experiences, there seems to be some confusion about exactly what is required to support your application. I find that confusing myself, but having read the relevant laws, I think I now understand why there is confusion and why people are saying they've received different advice from professionals about what is needed to support their application. So keep watching to find out how I unravel that. Now, for anyone that's interested in reading the law and the procedures for themselves, I'll post links in the description box down below. So take a look at that if you want to look at what I've read. Now, I've seen people asking on Facebook, what exactly is required for long-term residency? And there's common agreement that you need to have lived in Spain for a period of 5 years, legally and continuously, prior to making the application. And the reason for this is that the Spanish authorities want to see that you've actually put down roots in the country. Now, temporary absences are ignored for the purposes of calculating your continuous period of residency, and that is actually quantified in the law. You're not allowed to be out of Spain for more than 6 months in any 1 year in your first 5 years, and not more than a total of 10 months in the whole of the 5-year period. Now, I've seen some people say if you exceed the 6-month period of absence in any 1 year, then you can just forget that year and do another year and count that towards your 5 years for permanent residency. Now, I don't know if that's accepted or not, But my understanding of the rules is that you need a 5-year continuous period of residency. That is, they have to be successive years. Now, to me, the law seems quite clear and quite specific in that it says a continuous period of 5 years before your application. I've noticed as well that some people are saying that as no one's yet done their application for long-term residency, we don't know exactly what will be required. However, to me, this is only referring to people, to UK nationals after Brexit, as we only left the EU in 2021. So the first UK nationals to be applying for long-term residency, having arrived in Spain with a visa, will be sometime in early 2026, like us. So those saying we don't yet know what is needed ignore the fact that this is not a new law. This has been in existence nearly a quarter of a century, and the rules governing the current processes have been in place since 2011. So third country nationals from America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, China, Russia and many more countries have all had to go through this process. So there's really, for me, no excuse for anyone saying that we don't know what the rules or procedures will be. The rules are there for everyone to read, and as I said earlier, I'll post a link in the description box down below so you can read it for yourself. Now, some people have even suggested that British people on visas may be subjected to additional scrutiny at their applications for long-term residency, which to me is utter nonsense. We're all third country nationals. The law applies equally. Another point of contention is the documentation required to support your application. Some say you only need your passport and the complete copy, and the application form and proof of payment of the fee. Other people say that as well as that documentation, you also need to show proof of having sufficient funds to support yourself and your dependents, and proof of medical cover. So, who is right? Well, it appears that they're both right. How can they both be right? Well, the Spanish law actually distinguishes between two types of long-term residency. Firstly, you can apply for long-term residency national, which gives you the right to live and work indefinitely in Spain, or you can apply for long-term residency EU, which, as well as giving you the right to live and work in Spain, also gives you the right to settle in another EU country and live and work there, subject to the requirements of that country. Now, if you're applying for the long-term residency Spain, according to the rules as they are written at the moment, you only need to provide your passport, a complete copy of the passport, the application form and proof of payment of the fee. Now, I've been in touch with my local immigration office in Lanzarote, and they've confirmed that that is the only documentation that is required to support your application. However, if you're applying for long-term residency EU, then you will need to provide proof of funds to support yourself and any dependents, and proof of health cover. Now, it seems that the proof of funds required at present is 150% of the EPREM for the first applicant and 50% for each dependent, so less onerous than the visa application and the renewals. So I asked myself, which should I apply for? Clearly, long-term residency Spain application is easier and probably the quicker option. But I suppose maybe at some point, if you're thinking of going living in another EU country, then getting the long-term residency EU would make it far easier. And I've seen advice from immigration lawyers suggesting that you should apply for the long-term residency Spain first, and once that's approved, then apply for the EU card should you wish to. Now, I'd be interested to know from anyone else what people think about that. Let me know in the comments down below. Now, these are the current procedures as apply in 2024, and of course laws and procedures may change sometime in the future, so keep watching for that. As regards to the procedure, it's exactly the same as that for the renewals that you'll already be familiar with. You firstly go along to your immigration office and you apply for the residency application, either Spanish national residency application, sorry, not Spanish national, the long-term residency Spain, or you apply for the long-term residency EU, whichever it is that you decide to apply for. And then once that's approved, you apply for your TIE. Now, you have to renew your TIE every 5 years, but not your residency, only your TIE card. Your residency is approved for indefinitely. Now, that's the theory of it. I'd be interested to see how it works out in practice, and I'd also be interested to hear from people who have gone through the process themselves. Which one did you decide to go for? What documentation did you have to provide? Let me know down in the comments, and we can share our experiences and we can all learn from each other. Now, as ever with my videos, I'm not offering advice, I'm not a professional advisor, I'm simply interpreting what I've read and giving you the benefit of my research. I hope you found it useful. If so, please give the video a like, and if you want to find out how I get on with my long-term applications in the future, then consider subscribing to the channel. That's all for now. Thanks for watching and staying with me through what is quite a dry subject, but it is important to a lot of us. Certainly it's important to me. And until the next time, take care and hasta la próxima.